Welcome to the Flaming Greek, the hottest cooking show on the planet. Watch the hilarious duo cooking up adventure with the help of the torch.
Oops. Ta-da!
Watch The Flaming Greek and Cammy on Foodie TV. www.theflaminggreek.com.
Welcome to Tamba Indian Grill and Bar, where they have North Indian and South Indian cuisines. What else do they have?
Exotic kebabs and vegetarian and non-vegetarian food, and we have dishes for the health conscious people, and this is the real homemade food and not too much buttery,
Not too much
creamy.
butter, so it's good. It's perfect for the people who want to have a nice, healthy meal.
All right, well, that sounds good. Let's go inside and have some food, and then we're off to our next location.
Excellent.
We are honored to have you here.
Thank you. All the way from Tamba Indian Bar and Grill to Liberty, NYC. Nicole, what do you got for us?
Today we're going to be mixing up a Manhattan made with crown maple syrup, which is from Hudson Valley, New York, where I went to high school. It comes very dear and near to me. At the Liberty here, we like to use local sourced ingredients, and we're also going to be using a bourbon called Maker's Mark. We're just going to make a Manhattan with that little twist on it. So we're going to start making this off with a Maker's Mark bourbon. We're going to be making 4 of them, so we're going to go a little heavy on the pour. Whichever one. It's okay. It's okay. Make
You
sure-
like a little heavy on the pour, so it's all right.
That'll make my hair grow back.
Will it?
Yes, it will.
Oh, you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
Then we're going to use some walnut bitters. Give it a nice little sweetened, little savory taste. The crown maple syrup. Give it a nice drizzle. I really like using the crown maple because it's nice and liquefied. You don't really have to warm it up or anything or water it down.
See, I've never seen a drink being made with maple, so this is super cool, and I think it will taste really delicious.
I
can't
like
wait for you to
bourbon
try
on
it.
its own. I'd wait to try this.
So in this particular cocktail, we're going to stir it.
You want me to stir this one?
Yes, please. And you want to grab it at the bottom so you don't warm it up.
Oh.
And just continue around.
Yeah, you're a pro at this. Me not so much. Oh, there we go.
And once you see it starting to turn that nice amber color, the color of the maple syrup, and rise all the way to about there, you know you're nearing your mark, your water mark.
I'm not very good at this.
Keep stirring, girls.
All these ice blocks in the
You
way.
really got to stir it that long? What happened to the
No,
shaker thing?
I'm going with her. All right.
Is that mine pretty good, or should I say?
It's good, but we should go a little bit more just to make it matchy. There we go. Harder.
It's okay if you get ice on the floor. That's all right.
And then just take a nice julep strainer on the top.
Okay.
And then you start with those 2 on the end. And then we're going to garnish this with a peel of fresh orange.
Yum.
I like to go all the way around.
Gives it a nice spritz.
And
Smells
I'll
great.
rip it up into 4.
It
we're making
does
four.
smell really good.
And then just go right over the top.
And when you do that, you're bending it and you're getting a little bit of the orange in there. So you're
do
spritzing
yours.
it.
Look at that.
So, did I do it right?
You got to pinch it, so you got to go this way.
Oh, like that?
Nope, like this. So then you just go over the side.
Oh, okay.
So we're garnishing it today with a brandied cherry and some candied ginger.
Sounds delicious.
And there we have it. That is our
So
Fallen
perfect.
Crown Manhattan. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to start enjoying our food, and I hope to see you guys real soon here at the Liberty NYC.
I'm gonna grab my drink.
I think I might take a taste of it. Cheers, everybody.
guys.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you.
We're here with Kevin Joseph, the Oyster King of NYC. Can you tell us a little bit about these oysters?
I could tell you a lot about these oysters and a lot about oysters in general, but let's start with the most important fact. They're from New York. So these are a New York grown oyster, and in fact, oysters are actually one of the most famous foods in New York City, and these oysters actually come from Long Island. These are Blue Point oysters, one of the more famous oysters in the world, one of the most famous foods in the world. So these come from probably in and around Oyster Bay, or that area, and very, very common in New York City, and one of the best things to start any meal with. In fact, I like to say oysters. It's what's before dinner.
It's what's before dinner.
You know, think about it. Nobody ever gets full on an oyster.
You know,
or a dozen
I'm
oysters.
actually not an oyster eater, so you know, maybe
Well,
I should try one.
We're going to get you to try.
We're gonna
it.
fix
I will
that.
try. I think I should try one.
Let me tell you all the things about oysters that you should know that we're going to make you love oysters. Number one,
I will love oysters.
18 calories an oyster.
Sold.
Hey.
Number two, loaded with a highly soluble form of zinc, which
So-
is a building block of testosterone, which means they
Do I need
are,
testosterone?
they are definitely,
I mean, I don't know if I do.
well, in any creature, male or female, testosterone is a building block for your libido. And so
and immunity.
So,
immunity.
so basically, the oysters are good for.
they are an aphrodisiac, is what I'm trying to say.
All right.
Let's dig in.
So how
Absolutely.
do you? I don't know.
How does one eat an oyster?
Yes. How does one eat an oyster?
All right, well, first of all, if you've never had a particular variety of an oyster before,
Uh-huh.
the first thing you do is make sure that you have one naked first.
How do I know if an oyster is naked?
Naked means sans accoutrement. No lemon, no cocktail sauce, no mignonette, naked. You want to taste the oyster. You want to taste what the meat of that actual oyster variety actually tastes like. If you put cocktail sauce and mignonette on it, you're tasting vinegar and horseradish.
You're not tasting the actual
Right.
oyster.
Chew it?
Absolutely. You should always chew an
my gosh.
oyster
I'm gonna use a
gently
fork.
for two reasons. One, you want to break it up as if it were a grape. And also because you want to make sure that you chew it slowly so that if there's any shell in it from where the shucker shucked it, that it doesn't, that you don't
Would
eat
you
it or cut
suggest
your
a
tooth.
fork or a spoon?
Or just your
Neither.
lips.
In a good restaurant like this,
You
at
wanna
the Liberty,
Just your lips, I
it
guess.
should be
But what if
separated
you
from the
don't
shell.
mess up your lip stuff?
Then just like this.
Without? Okay. I'm gonna use a
I'm not an oyster virgin, so I'm gonna. What is this?
I am gonna use a fork.
That
Oh.
is cocktail sauce.
Oh my god, I'm so nervous. Oh.
So cocktail sauce is something I kind of have a negative opinion of because I don't think you should actually really
baby
use
foot.
it. Not that you, whatever, I like to say, to each their oyster. However anybody likes to eat an oyster is up to them, but I think cocktail sauce interferes with the flavor of the oyster.
That is good.
They're good oysters. We grow great oysters. This is a great time of year for oysters in New York right now because it's after the summer. Oysters have
You
finished
did it
spawning.
though. You did it. No one recognized that she did it. She's never had one.
We took that from You're an oyster
took your-
virgin?
we took
You
your-
never had an oyster before?
First time.
You've never had?
You should have done it without cocktail sauce
Well, I
then.
mean, all right, here we go.
All right, go ahead. Get at it.
Lemon is great.
It's not bad at all. And I want my libido to go
See?
out as well.
That's right. And
Yep.
they're really,
So your
oysters are
hair's
really,
gonna
really
grow
good.
back and your libido's gonna be full.
Some girl's gonna be very happy.
And yes, she will.
Well, that is definitely different. I mean, that's interesting.
Please have as many
I
as
would
you
like
like.
another.
Go ahead.
This guy.
Oh no, thank you.
We gotta see that face.
So oysters are really great food, not just for our bellies, but also for the water in which they grow and the ecosystems in which they live in, because they actually filter the water. They're filtering the water and they're cleaning the water while they're growing. The shell requires calcium, and so they're sequestering carbon from the water. And the shell also requires nitrates. When you take all of those things out of the water, it's actually improving water quality and oyster farms and oyster farming and oyster habitat are among the most biologically diverse regions on the planet. In fact, a salt marsh where oysters grow is more biologically diverse than a tropical rainforest. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So they're not just delicious, they're really good for the environment and really good for the
And they're
water
really
in the
good
bone.
for you as
And
well.
those are really good reasons to eat them.
As many as you can,
Isn't
as
there
often
a way
as you
to
can.
recycle the shells to help the environment as well?
As a matter of fact, one of the big reasons why we started Oyster Week was to help raise awareness amongst oyster-loving consumers that they should patronize restaurants that do recycle their shell, because oyster shell, when put back into the water, is the substrate upon which the larvae wants to set. When a swimming larvae sets on an existing oyster shell, it has something hard from there to grow on. They're basically coral.
That's
And we eat the
excellent.
meat of a
pretty
coral when we eat an oyster.
So
and
it's always good to put the shells back into the water.
It's always good to, after you've cured them for about
So-
18 months, which is a big process.
So curing is in a nutshell is
Leaving them out in the sun.
oh.
Yeah.
So
leaving
put them
out
in your. They won't get stinky.
They will go through a stinky
They
phase.
probably will.
They will go through a sticky phase. Okay.
But then that'll
so
go away.
Don't have anybody over your house while you're curing these oysters.
But it,
Or you can put them in your garden. You can mix them with topsoil. They aerate the soil.
Oh,
They're
wow.
an excellent gardening
So
tool.
not only are they really good, but they're multifunctional, and they're also
And
really good to
nutritious.
put back into the environment and
Yes.
to help rebuild everything else, which is so cool.
Yep. So the Billion Oyster Project is one of the beneficiaries of New York Oyster Week, and they collect oyster shell from restaurants all around New York City and then cure it out on Governor's Island, and then they take that shell, that cure shell that's called culch, and they put it into reefs in the Hudson in an effort to basically bring biodiversity and water filtration and all of that great stuff back to the Hudson River estuary, the New York Harbor.
That's really interesting. I had no idea about these oysters. See, if I was looking at an oyster shell, I maybe would want to make a wind chime out of them.
Or an earring.
Or an earring.
Or an
exactly.
ashtray.
Or an ashtray.
Or
But
this is a good marketing ploy,
Yeah.
right?
Well, no, I mean, we're really passionate about it. I mean, it's a good reason to say, to people, you should eat more oysters because, but it's true.
I had no idea. I had no idea about the benefits that oysters actually hold. You think you eat something, but actually you can eat them. You can put them back into the ocean, and it creates a whole cycle, and it's good for the earth. And in a nutshell, you should eat more oysters.
In an oyster
in an oyster shell, you
In
should
an
eat.
oyster shell.
In an oyster shell, you
Not
should
in a
eat more.
nutshell, in an oyster shell.
In fact, we're in New York City, and the oyster was, for 100 years in the 19th century, the primary source of protein in New York
Wow.
City for the rich and the poor. So instead of hot dog carts in 1890 and 1910,
It was
and
oyster cart.
literally, it was oyster carts. So the poorest people in New
So
York.
why did they stop that? Why did
Well, they ran out of oysters in New York Harbor, for one thing, and then they weren't treating sewage that was going into the river, so they became extinct and toxic, basically. And
Right.
so then along came the hot dog, and it became fashionable to eat a hot dog, and now
Right.
came the food truck, and so that became
But
fashionable.
little do people know that you can't put a hot dog after you eat it back in water unless you
Yeah, you don't want to do
you
that.
don't really want to do that. But that is really excellent. So the whole oyster you can put right back into the water, and that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. I had no idea about that, and that is just such cool information. I've never never knew anything like that.
Yeah, we're also working on a project to grind up the culch into powder and then use that as fertilizer
For crops.
for not just for crops, but more specifically for like waterfront homes, because the fertilizer the fertilizer that is mass market fertilizer tends to be quite toxic to ecosystems.
So does
It's
it
full
kind
of
of
nitrates.
absorb everything and
Not that it absorbs everything; it goes into the soil and it nutrifies the soil. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't put. It's organic.
It doesn't put toxins
put
so it doesn't
toxic
put
stuff.
toxins into the okay.
Right, so no, we take some of that culch and we're going to grind it up.
That's
we're,
brilliant.
We're actually going to try and take culch to Union Square in the farmer's market, rig a bicycle so you can sit on a bike and run a mill and grind your own shell.
Wow.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That
Yeah.
is
So
So you can
really
get a workout, grind your own shell that you can use on your
Right.
lawn,
And you're also helping everything around.
keeping
the
stuff out of the water,
environment.
out of
Right.
landfill and all that
Getting
stuff.
rid of the toxic. That is so cool.
And they're kind of pretty, right?
They
Oyster
are.
shells.
They're
you know?
beautiful.
I'm so happy you tried one.
I did. I was so anti-oyster. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the taste, but then again, you know me, I'm a picky eater. But I have to say that just the whole, like the essence of the oyster, like what it does, what it benefits you inside, what it benefits the earth, and putting it back into everything is just such a miraculous thing, and it's such a beautiful thing. And I think that people who don't eat oysters should start eating oysters and throw them back into the water with the shell.
Starting with you.
Starting with me, but I don't know if it's gonna start with me. But I will, if I have oyster shells, I will put them back in the water. I'm all about that.
East Coast only, though. Another
I'm
important
in
thing.
Florida, so.
Okay, so if you eat an oyster in Florida and it's not from the East Coast, don't put it in the water. Because inside the shell, you see these little nooks and crannies? Inside any one of those in any given oyster could be a little parasite, a little worm, some animal, some creature that's microscopic that if introduced into an ecosystem would be a foreign invasive
body,
species.
right.
So you want to be careful. Only put East Coast oysters in East Coast
East
water
Coast
and West Coast.
Just like
Got
going to
it.
Mexico and drinking the water.
Exactly. Don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water.
So what do we have here?
So the Liberty NYC is going to be participating in New York Oyster Week for the first time because we're brand new and we found out about the program. So our chef Miguel Silvero created this beautiful, delicate oyster soup, and it's made with a light chicken stock, a little bit of flour. There is some cream in there, very nice vegetables. Everything's cooked to a nice, like, semi-firm texture, but you should taste it. I know you're a little weirded out by oysters.
I am a little weirded out by oysters.
But I think that if
I'm
you give it a taste, you'll really enjoy it.
You know what? That's not bad at all. That's actually not bad. It's very creamy. The texture is very creamy, and it just has it doesn't have a strong oyster taste like eating a raw oyster.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's all try it.
Okay, everybody, let's try it. Here, I'll give you two. Give you a spoon. Give you a spoon. Here you go.
Mix her up a bit.
Make it a
Oop,
little
right in the
bit-
candle.
Try and find an oyster. There's an oyster. That's right.
But the texture is very creamy. The oyster taste is very light. It is, for being a non-oyster eater, I think that this is the perfect thing.
You love it?
Perfect thing, yes. I think it is very delicious as well.
Absolutely. The only thing it's missing to me is the oyster cracker.
Well, the thing is, the way we're going to serve it is with a garlic toast point, because we do the garlic fries with the duck fat fries, which we'll get into, which is one of our signature flavors. So we're going to incorporate that into that. But I wanted you to have the very first taste of our soup.
and it was delicious, and I'm so for it.
Oyster
you.
stew or oyster soup is actually one of the oldest recipes in the United States.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the earliest things that the pilgrims cooked. I mean, literally, it goes
Thought
that
it
far
was
back.
turkey.
They had that too.
True,
Well, oyster
true.
stuffing was actually one of the things they stuffed. They used as well. So
So
What do we have here?
So we love mac and cheese as Americans in general, and also being New Yorkers. So we've created it in a way that can be socially acceptable without like having too much and being
It
like.
almost looks like a brownie.
I know,
I was gonna say, are
right?
these pot mac and cheese?
They're actually really amazing, and the way he does it is not too much cheese, not too much anything, and it's basically just mac and cheese breaded and then fried in duck fat, and then it's with our house-made
So
marinade.
do you cut it, or do you just pick
You
it up
can
and
you
bite
can
into
pick it up and
Yeah.
dip it if you want.
So what
I'm a
kind
New
of
Yorker,
sauce is
so
this?
this is our house-made marinara.
Oh, I love marinara.
I want to see if I can fit one in my mouth, just one
I mean,
entire.
look how good it looks on the inside.
Oh, that is good.
I'm in.
Do you need some saucy?
Wow.
Excuse me, are these gluten free?
No.
Kidding.
There's also the sauce.
No, I dip it.
No, just dip
Yeah.
it. Come on, stop
Just
being
dip
a
it.
pansy. Just dip
We
it
ate it
in
with
there
our
and take
fingers.
a bite.
This is like
Like
a
a
fun
box.
like a fun party food.
So this mac and cheese is the coolest thing that I've ever eaten. It is so cute, it is so small, and I've never seen anything like it. So
Thank
this
you.
is a house special.
This is on our menu every day. We literally sell out of it nearly every day.
Oh, I can imagine
Yeah.
why. I mean, look at this. This is so delicious. I mean,
Oh, shoot.
torch it up a little bit. Because nowhere is the same without the flaming Greek flaming up his food.
That's my emergency torch.
Beep, beep. You don't even need the torch. It's so good. Now, how does that taste?
It's moist, it's great.
I think it's excellent. I think it's so good.
Well,
and I think I still think these are the coolest little, like, they're like little pockets of mac and cheese. And they're just like, they're the cutest things ever. I think that more people should learn how to cook these because these are so adorable. And you can eat these at parties. Oh, the marinara, done. Favorite, okay.
Well, moving on from there, we have our duck fat fries, which are fried in duck fat.
Duck fat fries.
They're also accompanied with garlic and parsley and our house-made ketchup.
I've never heard of a duck fat fry in my entire
These are our
life.
number one, like people love these things. Like
So
they sit
let's
down before they order a drink and order duck fat fries.
Duck fat fries. All right, let's try it.
You're
A
welcome.
lot of flavor in there.
Wow.
And then from there, they go on to our buttermilk southern fried chicken sliders or our buttermilk fried chicken sandwich.
Wow.
Which is made with the house coleslaw, which is amazing as well. And then we have our Liberty Burger, which she's sitting in the back there, really hidden. But this is our another, like, I mean, this hits the ball out of the park. Anytime you're really hungry, this is something that will, you know.
Now, are these also duck fat fries?
Yes.
Because
We only serve duck fat fries.
I'm a little obsessed.
We only serve
I
duck fat
have
fries.
never tasted a French fry like as good as this French fry. This is so good. So on top of that, everything here is so affordable. It's exactly where you want to bring your first date. And I have a quick question before you fry up that French fry.
Extra crispy.
Now, this is my favorite question. Now, what about your happy hour? Because everybody needs to know. If you're going to bring your date here, you're going to want to put a little bit of liquor in your drinks, you know, get a little bit drinks up. So, for your happy hour, do you have a happy hour? How
We
does
do.
that go?
We have a happy hour every Monday through Friday.
Okay.
From 3, but we say 4. From
3
if you
o'clock?
come at 3, you would get the happy hour.
That's
wink,
a
wink.
wink, by the way.
So we start at 3 to 8 every day, Monday through Friday.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
$4 house beers, $6 house wines, and $8 Stoli Moscow mules.
Now,
And that's a long happy
That is where
hour.
I would want to bring
That's
the
a
first
5-hour happy hour.
That's a 5-hour happy hour and some French fries and some oysters and some macaroni and cheese little brownie thing. Now that is, if you do not come here for the first date and at least, or with
It's
your
value for the first date.
best
Yes.
friend, you gotta come here and you can enjoy a real meal. You don't have to go to other places. You come here. This is the real deal, and it is
Oh my goodness.
so delicious. And then
You come here for
come here and
That's so
ask her.
funny.
What is this drink called again? One more time.
This is the Liberty Crown
The
Manhattan.
Liberty Crown Manhattan, and this is the most tastiest thing. It literally tastes like a fall day,
Thanks.
like the fall leaves are falling, and it's perfect. And it smells so good too.
This is unbelievable. The
ginger.
ginger. Ginger, what is that?
It's just candied ginger, yeah.
And it really,
complements it.
it complements, it really accentuates the flavor of it. It is so perfect.
Thank you, darling.
This is medium rare. 165.
There's pickles too.
Yep.
I love that.
Oh, I do love
Hear that
pickles.
sear?
Hear that sear, he said.
That's, you know, that's great. Oh, I'm so full. All right.
You're as skinny as a rail.
Oh. That was excellent. Thank you so much for watching The Flaming Greek. This is Nicole. This
you.
is Kevin. I'm Cammie, and this is The Greek.
Until next time.
For a copy of any of the recipes that you've seen on today's program, please purchase the Flaming Greek and Cammie Cookbook, a delightful, colorful page photo coffee table cookbook that will have you and your family enjoying these recipes in the convenience of your own home. Cook with the Flaming Greek. To purchase the cookbook, log on to theflaminggreek.com. The price is $44.95 plus shipping and handling. Offer made by the Flaming Greek Production.